Bad audio is a turnoff. And I mean that quite literally. I have turned off videos with bad audio, and I've even left live events where the quality was actually a distraction. It was so low. So, you know that if you're presenting, audio matters. And sometimes we do not have control over the background noises, what's going on, especially if we're live in a scenario. We can't always control what's going on around us. That's why I was so impressed earlier this year when I attended the NAB show in Las Vegas. I went to the Shure booth and I got to try the new MV7 Plus microphone that has a real-time denoiser. I was on a crowded conference floor, people talking everywhere around us, and I put on the headphones so I could monitor the microphone. And when the denoiser was switched on, I almost couldn't believe it. The way that it was able to sort of isolate my voice and drop a lot of that background noise, it was so impressive that I just kept thinking about it. I was so impressed, but I kept holding off because I thought there's technically nothing wrong with my current microphone situation. I have the original MV7 microphone, but I did eventually switch. And I do want to explain why I switched, and we'll talk about the differences as well as a demo. Now, what's the difference? First of all, the MV7 and the MV7 Plus. So this is the original MV7, and then here that I'm using right now is the MV7 Plus. They are both dynamic microphones, and they both have USB and XLR outputs in the bottom. So that gives you the flexibility and the option to connect directly to your computer or through an audio interface. This new version has built-in digital signal processing, or DSP, when you use the USB connection. So this means you can use the digital pop filter, the real-time denoiser. There's also an auto gain option. And when you customize the settings, they will actually save to the mic itself, so that if you connect this mic to another computer, it will actually retain your settings and remember what you chose. It also has a customizable LED, which we can see here, and you can choose the color you want. You can also turn it off, or you can have it so that it is reacting to your voice. So you have lots of options with the LED. I am going to do comparisons today, so you can hear the differences between not just these mics, but a couple of other mics as well. Before I do that, I do want to take a moment and give you some context, because one of the goals with my channel is to talk about the why, not just the what. When you understand the context of the technology and how it fits or maybe doesn't fit, then you can make a more informed decision that takes into account your needs, but also your setup and your situation. So I'm going to share what changed my mind to make me decide to switch to this newer version. Now, before I do that, I just want to rewind quickly. And why did I get the MV7 in the first place? The first microphone I got was the Yeti in 2018. And it's a condenser mic. It could sit on my desk, pick up my voice. And honestly, I thought my voice sounded fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but it was really sensitive. Even the clock, if I was quiet, you could hear the clock ticking, which is one of the reasons that I pulled the batteries, and the clock never changes. So I switched to the MV7. It's a dynamic microphone, so it picks up the sounds close to the mic, and it's not as sensitive as other microphones. I mean, it still can pick up sounds in the background, but it's not nearly as sensitive. This would mean it's closer to my mouth and not out of the frame, although wearing black definitely has helped over the years. I specifically chose the MV7 because it had both the USB and the XLR connections. And at first, I was using the USB connection, but it was actually quite quiet. I could not get the levels that I was desiring at the time. And if you watch some of my early videos in early 2021, those levels are low. I noticed it, people in the comments noticed it, so I ended up switching and using XLR with an audio interface. First starting with the Rodecaster Pro, and then later switched to the much smaller, fits on my desk much better, Streamer X. So that's what I've been using since then. And technically, there's nothing wrong with my setup. But I couldn't stop thinking about that real-time denoiser and the voice isolation of the new MV7 Plus. And I don't always have a really quiet environment. I'm in a neighborhood, and frankly, I've got one in particular, a neighbor who loves landscaping and loves construction. And they always choose the middle of the day when I'm about to record. That's always when they do the construction. So having a mic that could reduce those background noises, that ambient noise, it felt reassuring. Like I could be more confident and could record content even in less than ideal settings. It also reopened the possibility of connecting using USB and not needing to use an audio interface all the time. So I actually reached out to my contact at Shure and I said, you know what, I'm going to do it. I am going to buy the new MV7 Plus, and I'm really excited about it. Now, I was really fortunate because I found out a local rep here in Canada had one available and they actually gifted it to me so that it could be part of my studio. So I'm very grateful to the folks at Shure. I've been using it since August with both USB and XLR. So a couple of my videos recently were USB. Also, my last video was XLR. And we're going to see some of the differences between the sounds. First, I'm going to compare my built-in microphone with my computer, a condenser microphone that I have available, and we're also going to take a look at both the original MV7 and also the MV7 Plus. Two ways. The first will be in a quieter space without much going on sound-wise, but then the second time we do it, I'm going to have the fan in my office on full blast so that you can hear the difference that it can make if you do have things in the background that are running. Maybe there are some low ambient sounds, maybe you're in a space where you have a fan, air conditioning, etc. And we'll actually take a look at those comparisons. Let's start with the built-in. This is the microphone for my MacBook Pro, and this is what it sounds like. So just want to start as a base comparison. This is my condenser microphone, which is currently sitting on the desk. It means I can have it out of the shot, but frankly, to me, it feels a little bit hollow. When I bring it closer to my mouth, it doesn't sound as hollow in the room or as empty, but it does have to be a lot closer in order to have that. Now we have the MV7 Plus connected through XLR, but with zero processing. This is just XLR connected into my computer. I don't have any effects that are done to my voice. So this is just the mic, no processing, using XLR. Now we are using the MV7 Plus with XLR, but this time it is going into the Rodecaster video, and I do have some audio processing turned on using the console. Now we are using the MV7, my original mic, using the USB so that you can hear the difference. Just plugged in directly to the USB. I don't have any software open. This is just what it sounds like when I plug it in. Now I'm using the MV7 Plus with USB. One of the differences is that the LED is now on. When you are using XLR, the LED is not lit up. I also have applied some processing to this using the Motiv Mix software. And so the real-time denoiser, the auto gain, those are all turned on. So that's an example of hearing the built-in microphone, the condenser microphone, MV7 Plus through USB unprocessed and processed, and then comparing USB with the MV7 and the MV7 Plus. We're going to do the same thing, except this time I am turning on a fan to full blast. This is the built-in MacBook microphone. Okay, now we have the condenser microphone, which is sitting on my desk, so it is a little bit further away, but I wanted you to hear the difference between the built-in and also the condenser. Now this is the MV7 Plus XLR, no processing at all. This is the MV7 Plus XLR into the Rodecaster video, and I do have processing turned on. Now we have the MV7 through USB. So this is my original mic plugged in directly through USB with really minimal or no processing. And finally, we have the MV7 Plus connected through USB, and it has that real-time denoiser on. And honestly, if I didn't have blowing hair, you might not know that the fan is on full blast. I haven't changed anything else except the mic input, and that is the difference if you have some louder noises in your space. It's still going, and when I listen to my monitor, I can't hear the fan. Okay, let's turn off the fan and talk a little bit about the software. So here I am in the Motiv Mix Software. This is where I can access the settings for the microphone, adjust them, and also use it as a mixer. So there are a lot of opportunities. Today, we're just gonna stay focused on the microphone. You can see all the sources down the side here of all the mic inputs I have right now. But you could see the MV7 Plus here, and there's a little gear. When I click on the device settings, it pops open on the right, and I have all these options here. My gain, I have set to auto level, but you can also pick which level you want and actually set it to a specific level. Got the monitor mix if I am monitoring directly from the microphone, which at the moment I am not because of all the testing. Tone, I have set to natural, but you can go darker or brighter. If we drag this over darker, maybe you can hear a difference, maybe you can't. And then if I go over to brighter, then you might hear a difference here. This time with the monitor, I can hear a difference, but I like to have this kind of more central towards natural. Now, if we look at reverb, I've got that turned off. I do have the real-time denoiser turned on, hence the fan sound disappearing. I also have the popper stopper turned on, might as well get rid of those plosives. And there is a high pass filter that you can turn on. I have that set to 75. And then I also have for LED, I have this set to solid. Now, I have chosen a custom color that I like that suits my brand. You can choose from all sorts of different colors. So if I click the arrow, I can pick other colors that I like. You can put in a custom hex code and save that. So you can choose live, pulsing, and solid. Live is actually going to coordinate with what you're saying. So if I change my camera, let's go here. And now you can see that it's actually pulsing. Now my camera is not necessarily focused on this part of the room, but you can see that it pulses and changes. And if I pick a different one, like default, if we go to default, now you can see that it's pulsing as I talk. You also have the option of pulsing with a single color. So it will respond to your voice and your talking, but it will say one color instead of live where it has multiple colors. Personally, I like the solid, and you can adjust the levels. So if you want medium, high, or maximum, let's pick maximum and I'll change my camera. And then now you can see the brightness of maximum if I go to high, medium, and then low. Low, I find a little bit nicer with the way my camera works. It really depends on your camera and your setup. So once you have everything you like and it's set, this is saved. It's saved to your microphone. Even if you close this, even if Motiv Mix is not open, when you connect the microphone, it has saved all of your settings in here. You can also explore the mixer. We're not going to get into that today. Hopefully, hearing the actual comparisons and also just understanding a little bit of the decision making can help you make a more informed choice when it comes to your microphone. Obviously, we all want to sound good, and we can't always control our outside environment and all the sounds around us. Personally, I love the assurance that it's going to block out some unwanted noises when I'm recording or when I'm presenting live. And that to me is a peace of mind so that I can create more professional, engaging, and seamless virtual presentations.